many people said, oh, you could have done this, you could have done that. Yeah, I could have also made this person have an alligator head with teeth.
That's a great idea, Josh. Alright, so recently a popular art YouTuber who goes by the name Ergo Josh did an oopsies. And it involved AI. So Josh has recently decided to disclose that he's been integrating AI tools into his art production workflow and asks his viewers in the community tab if they would like to see his breakdown. Obviously, a community full of artists were not liking it, but Josh went through with it anyway. I saw this and waited to see what he was going to do. So, I have clipped the video in question. It's this one. Go type it in and watch it yourself for full context. I'm not going to link it because, as always, whenever I do this commentary-style videos, do not harass or engage with any individuals mentioned. And remember, this is just my opinion. If you have some counterpoints, please leave them in the comments. I look forward to them. Okay? Personally, I like Josh. He's a real down-to-earth dude, and I've watched his content for multiple years. I'm just going to debate some of his points he made in his video and critique his usage of AI and how I think, in all honesty, he really didn't need to use it at all. Luckily, he timestamped each segment, so we have 4 uses of AI in this piece, which I guess we'll give an unsolicited critique of in a very friendly manner, but that's still kinda dick. But I noticed some things that make me want to not bite my tongue on, you know? And for that matter, go ahead and give an unsolicited critique of this creature I'm drawing on screen. Anyway, let's begin the debate here.
And how to actually have it benefit you without limiting yourself, how to only have it add to you. So this is the final result that you're seeing here. This illustration took me over 111 hours, completed entirely in Procreate.
Holy shit. 111 hours. This piece you're watching me make on screen took around 2.5 to 3 hours. Is it my best work? I don't know. But 111 hours for this piece with one character and no background? Buddy, you have got to consolidate your process. See this Resident Evil fan art that I made around Halloween last year? Or was it the year before? Whatever, I'm getting old. This took around 60 to 70 hours and has a ton of characters and a background. Is it good? I don't know, you tell me. Personally, I kind of wanted to squeeze Sheva and Claire in there too, but I had to get it done eventually. Whatever, that's besides the point. I really just don't think it should have taken that long. Even in the breakdown, having watched this video in full prior to writing this script, I don't understand how it took him this long. Like, I don't get it. But I guess his art just takes time. Whatever, that's not what this video is about anyway, so we're just going to move on. But damn, 111 hours? That's way too long, bro.
Stylized as much as I'd wanted. And so at this point, I used some reference that had been generated by AI by other artists, as well as my own intuition for all the faces I've drawn to construct this. And it really is no different from me looking at reference of, let's say, Ilya Kuchinov, like I've done many, many times in the past, to construct this face and have it have an appealing look with the shape of the eyes that I wanted. But again, I didn't generate any reference myself. I didn't overlay any references or include any AI in this illustration at this point whatsoever.
Okay, so I think this might be the only time I can side with Josh on this in this video. I think it's okay to look at AI-generated images as a bit of inspiration or for the sake of the mood of the piece or something like that. Should also note that he specified he himself didn't generate these images. As a matter of fact, there's some old videos on this very channel where I reinterpreted some nightmarish AI outputs from Artbreeder when the tech was still young and outputted garbled messes. I took that and applied it to my creature designs. I'll link it in the card and at the end of the video. But this was back before the massive boom in DALL-E's release and all that. One thing that I think was a no-no, for lack of a better word, I guess, a mistake maybe, from Josh was comparing looking at AI-generated images to looking at works by human artists like Loesch and Ilya Kuchinov. You know, they're not the same thing, bro. Oh, by the way, hottest take of the century right here, okay? I'm ready for the flames in the comments. I don't really like Ilya Kuchinov's art. I get it. Big name. People like him. But it just doesn't do it for me. Anyway, back to what I was saying. There's a bit of a difference between looking at art made by professional humans and art made by machines. The thing is, sometimes the machine will just render things wrong. Sometimes it nails it, other times it looks like shit. It really is a slot machine. But again, I think using AI images as a bit of inspo is fine, right? Generating the images from stolen labor is the big issue, and I'll retread that toward the end of the video because this whole thing is really majorly an ethical issue. Okay, next part.
And so here is where we finally have AI being used. So I generated several images in Midjourney of hair just flowing about in space. And sometimes it would actually generate a character's head, which is not what I wanted. So I would erase that. And so I brought it in, I cut it up, I cropped it. I would use the liquify tool, and I would try to shape the hair in a flow that was similar to what I wanted with this. And I wanted it to be in multiple layers. So you see that this is actually 3 different images. If I switch to a different color here, or 3 different sections, there's this one below it, and then there's this one over here. And if we go to the next slide, you'll see I added even more. And what I did was I started to trace some of the basic shapes here.
Okay, so I have to interrupt Josh here because the second half of this part is more important, but I had to address this part first, okay? I personally do not understand why he did this. Like, I'm confused. Okay, look, references are good, alright? You see all these YouTube artists always telling you reference, and yeah, you should use them. But sometimes there comes a point where I think too many references can be used. You know, it could be a bit of a hindrance. There's this amazing thing built in with your human consciousness that a machine can never really replicate, and it's called an imagination. Okay? Now, I know some people have a condition called aphantasia, where they can't visualize things in their mind's eye, and some of them are artists, usually working in photorealism. Not throwing shade, just stating facts, and that's cool. Some of them persevere through that, and I think that's awesome. But it's extremely rare, like 1%. But anyway, that's besides the point. I think a culmination of your imagination as well as references can elevate your pieces. You have to use both. In this very piece you're watching me draw, I reference alligator heads, and I drew a lot of the rest of it from imagination. Again, shout out to Josh for the idea. I feel like Josh has let the only use references, real artists always use reference, kind of push his imagination to the wayside. Honestly, like, it's hair. I really don't believe it was necessary to photo bash these and trace them. Like, this is just extra steps, man.
Now, a lot of you freaked out hearing, oh my God, he traces. But as an experienced artist, when I trace something, I know how to trace it in a way that still adheres to my own skill and artistic intuition for shape design. I'm not going to go in here like a newbie would and trace every single little thread and stick to the lines that were there. No, I'm going to actually blur my vision a bit and find the bigger shapes that I find appealing here and use it as inspiration. So as you see, these images I generated are not very artistic at all. They're 3D. They're almost photorealistic. And the result, as you saw, is not photorealistic at all. I just wanted the general cascading shape of this. No one person can say that they own hair flowing about that's being lit in this way, right? And even if there is an image that looks exactly like this, the end result is not even close to what this is. And if I had found an image that had hair like this, which I didn't, by the way, I had searched for a lot of hair images on Pinterest before that you'll see in this video that helped, but didn't give me this expression or feeling that I wanted. You can see clearly this basically doesn't even look like I had used AI in the image at all. I used it as a tool to help guide me.
This is the most Shadiversity sounding ass shit I have ever heard. Okay, that's a bit extreme, but I think he kind of lost the plot here. Rather than using his imagination, he had to generate these images and trace them to fit his piece. Again, I don't get it, but whatever. Firstly, he claimed photorealism is not artistic, which is a slap in the face of artists that work in a photorealistic style. Then, he claimed no one owns hair. Okay, this is a common AI bro argument. Technically speaking, with a shitload of legalese, the images generated can potentially fall under the fair use clause. Just like the clips from Josh's video I'm using here, technically both are fair use, transformative content, at least here in the United States. Again, it's an ethical issue. These models are trained on tons of stolen images that the original creators did not consent to. This shit's still in the courts. What will be, right? But this whole artist intuition thing, I swear I've heard this before.
And this is where applying artistic talent is really important. You might not see what I see in this image, but I see potential for a brilliant pose and composition here. It's not actually there, but I see the potential for it. This is hugely important, and it defines such a massive difference in someone who is able to apply an artistic eye to this process versus someone who doesn't have the experience or ability to do so, and they're just limited with the images that they're able to generate.
Oh yeah. Anyway, this next part is by far the biggest problem I have with this video.
I could have done an infinite number of things, but I chose to use the tools that I had available. My camera to photograph my hand, images on Pinterest, references that I purchased from real people that posed and sell those photographs, and I purchased them from ArtStation. I used everything, right?
You use too much.
So when you hear, oh, someone used AI, you need to think a lot more critically about how that can be used. This isn't a game. This isn't a war about being who's right or who's wrong or who's good or who's bad. This is about growing and maturing in your own skill and learning new skill sets and finding a place where they can be fitting to your own complex view of the world and your own morality here. This isn't supporting theft, right? That's a very simple-minded way to view this, and I say that with complete confidence.
All right, hold that thought, Josh. Firstly, dude, why are you so angry? Calm down. Second, oh boy, we got a lot to unpack, and this isn't even the end of the segment. Okay, so first he addressed the discourse around the ethical issues with AI in a very vague way. I'm sure he'd have a very different opinion if his work got trained and people were spitting out images of Pinterest girl in ergo Josh style 24/7. Look, the one thing that bothered me was that he claimed using AI matures you as an artist. To be honest, I don't necessarily understand what he meant by that. I think you're better off learning Blender over Midjourney. That's just my 2 cents. The main thing is I can't see a way if I remove all of the ethical discourse, right, just threw that in the trash, perceived AI image generation as a tool, like they all say, right? Get the conversation away, just look at it as a tool. I cannot see a way to apply it to my work. Or to anyone else's work, for that matter. Hell, I got better use out of it when it was worse. Check out those art breeder videos I made. The last bit before I cut him off here in the edit, again, go watch the whole video for yourself for full context. It's not that long. This part kind of got under my skin. The fact he said it's not supporting theft when something like Midjourney is literally trained on stolen artwork and is a paid software where you directly put money into the pockets of literal thieves. Yeah, that part pissed me off a little. I feel like maybe Josh didn't do enough research. It's okay. I mean, sometimes I don't either, all right? I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt there, okay? But big yikes on that one. And the complete confidence part came off a little condescending, you know? Especially considering his position as a very popular art YouTuber with 737,000 subscribers, who, if you've seen his desk setup tours, did really well for himself before the AI boom. And look, I'm not one of those like, rich people have too much money types. I don't really give a shit about that, okay? Do whatever you want with your money. I don't care, all right? I'm pro-capitalism, actually. But, like, you know what I mean? Smoke them if you got them. But it's just really, really not a good look, dude.
When you hear that someone used a tool and you associate it with everything else. It's extremely immature, and it's part of why I'm making this video, because I feel this needs to be said, and a lot of people are fearful about saying this, but I'm in a position where I can express this. So let's continue.
Personally, I think expressing your point of view with such noticeable malice is a bit immature, but that's just me.
Now you see, I rendered a few more images of hair that were a lot more stylized, and they were very light gray. I'll show what the full versions of them look like. And I decided I wanted a little bit more dynamism, but I wanted to really make sure that it fit into the space. So what I did was I took this image that I had drawn, the line work, I brought it into PureRef on my Mac and then used it as an overlay and went to a perspective grid website and adjusted the grid so that it fit exactly the perspective I had drawn this character in, so that I could bring that perspective grid back into my artwork in Procreate and actually manipulate the hair into the correct perspective here.
Okay, so I just gotta say, a lot of that shit is just built right into a lot of drawing programs. As you can see, I'm a Clip Studio Paint boy now, right? But there are literally perspective brushes you can get, and you can import 3D models, and why did you generate a different style of hair to trace when the previous hair you traced looks totally different, and now the trace content is going to clash? Whatever. This next part, however, though, this part grinds my gears, though, okay?
This is a very high level of work and intention and rigor that I'm doing because I have a certain standard that I want with my work. And I want it to feel a certain way. This isn't just copy and tracing like you hear and think like a 5-year-old when you hear the word tracing. And so I'm saying this again to push that people need to think more when they hear certain terms being used. It used to be that using digital art meant that you weren't shit, that you didn't know how to paint at all. But now look, right? It isn't so simple as if you use this, you don't know shit, you're nothing. It's a lot more complex. And I know many people wouldn't have the ability to actually be able to think this critically about their work. I'm not saying you need to or it means anything, but this is me showing how much intention and care I put into this illustration, right? And it's something that people need to be able to do if they want to start standing out, because these tools are going to allow people to do bigger and better projects much faster. I don't have to have years of learning perspective to be able to do this anymore. This tool is online for free. It might as well be an AI as well, right? So let's continue.
Okay, so comparing AI-generated art to the advent of digital art is something that the AI bros like to do a lot. Now, to be fair, Josh is using it rather differently than the Shadiversity camp. The argument isn't that it's a tool to use. A lot of people, particularly the tech bros, see this technology as a total replacement of human creativity. You know, there's a difference between painting a picture in Photoshop and just typing a prompt, hitting generate, and calling it a day. Josh didn't do that, and that's fair. Look, I'm not entirely against AI, even as a general technology, but so far I've mostly seen it used for nefarious purposes. I have yet to see a piece that was made in the fashion that Josh did that I like. Just a preview for the end of this video. I think the piece he made with the AI assistance here is okay. I don't think it's his best work. I feel like he's done better pieces in the past, but that's just part of being an artist. Some of you watching this video who might be familiar with my own work might think the piece I'm drawing is trash and you like my art from 3 years ago better, and that's fine. It's just part of being an artist, really, you know? Sometimes your art gets worse and it gets better and then it gets worse. It's progress. But this comparison has got to stop. This digital art is AI kind of comparison, that's got to stop. AI is trying to just straight up replace the artist, and some people have actually lost their jobs. I'm sure someone in Josh's position probably didn't think about this. Note the desk tours once again. I don't know. I think the AI usage made the piece worse, and hey, this is coming from someone who agrees that sometimes AI can make really good pieces. Now, I don't think in the long run AI is going to replace us. It will if y'all give up like you're doing. I've seen a lot of younger and newer artists just say fuck it and give up, and that's a defeatist mentality that needs to stop. It kind of gives the same energy of like some guy who won't approach a girl because he thinks he's ugly. Well, how do you know if you don't try? Maybe she's got an ugly guy fetish. You never know. It will only win if we let it, okay? But back to Josh. I don't know, man. Again, it's an ethical dilemma. And sure, a lot of people will comment it's objectively wrong. Okay, but let me ask you something. Where were your shoes made? Probably in some sweatshop in China. Where did the batteries in your smartphones come from that you're probably watching this video on? Come on, watch my videos on desktop. But the batteries probably came from exploitative child labor mining for cobalt in parts of Africa. You know, I get it. But also, I kind of get the other side too. It's a trolley problem sort of situation in the end. We all just have to keep fighting. Anyway, on to the last bit.
And I used an AI generated image of an elf boy, and I liked how the ear looked in that image that I saw on Pinterest, so I just copied it. Could have been another artist painting that I looked at to copy. It made no difference, right? But because I say that it's AI, all of a sudden it's problematic. That's the problem I'm addressing with this video. Just another example. I think that's silly.
I think it's silly to have to use AI to generate a reference for an elf boy just to draw a pointy ear. Like, Josh, buddy, like, I mean this respectfully. Do you have aphantasia? Like, seriously. Like, references are good. Yes, use references. Yes. But damn, dude. Oh, y'all remember that Einstein quote from the start of every Captain Underpants book. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Like, I think this is excessive, honestly. Again, you literally have too many references, okay? But let's see how the final piece turned out. Give a completely unsolicited critique like an a-hole. And while we're at it, check in with Josh's friend Adam Duff. Yeah, I'm kind of glad I sat on this for a bit. I knew he was going to make a video. Alright, so sorry it's a little low-res, but this is the only uncropped one I found. Yeah, okay, anyway, so first impressions, I do love the colors. Very vivid reds and pinks, and the lighting is cool. You know, it was a cool vibe. Not like temperature, like sunglasses, you know what I mean? And Sonic the Hedgehog, cool. Anyway, I like the minimalistic lighting and the dark void, right? Honestly, the only problem I have with this is the hair. Probably because he traced two totally different hair types from AI. It creates a tangent with the tail at the top of the head, and there are seemingly floating pieces of hair in various places. I thought he had the artist's intuition to know how to place it correctly. I mean, it's pretty good, though. I mean, is it a 111-hour piece? I mean, he probably could have saved time if he just skipped the AI part, honestly. It's alright. I could tell it's Ergo Josh. Again, this whole thing is really about ethics, right? I give it, like, maybe a 7 out of 10. Oh, you rate my piece that I'm drawing in this video. 0 out of 10. -5. It's a piece of shit. You should give up. Fuck you. That's alright. I'm saying all the mean comments for you so you guys could actually think of something mean to say, you know, that's a little bit more constructive. Okay. So, before we discuss Adam Duff entering the arena, let's take a look at Josh's immediate response to the backlash that was obviously inevitable. So, shout out to this YouTuber, Lola Holiday, who managed to capture Josh's Instagram story. Oh, I should also mention that one of her other videos shows me that apparently there are AI art time lapses now. So, don't tell me this is a tool and not intended to replace artists. That's all it was ever meant for. The tech bros hate you. Never forget this. Anyway, let's check out the Instagram stories.
But what has Josh said since the video came out? Let's see, he made some statements on his Instagram as well. The people announcing their unsubscription after watching my latest YouTube video, but are 100% coming back to hate every time I post something for the next few months. But seriously, I mad appreciate those of you who have offered your support and words of comfort. It's definitely tough, and I obviously only show a limited side of myself online. I'm still human, even though I've been well prepared for the intensity of the harsh feedback I'd get from sharing my views. I don't make these videos to defend myself, but to make a statement for the majority that is still undecided or pondering about their own views on AI. It's a rough time and a controversial topic, and the like-dislike ratio, although still very positive in my favour, clearly shows that. I also appreciate those of you who disagree and have left your thoughts. Many people will read them, and it will help us all move forward in a big way.
So, I think Josh is on his villain arc. I read some comments on his video, and a lot of people are theorizing he did this to get views up because his most recent videos are underperforming. Personally, I think his issue is that his content is a bit repetitive lately. Art YouTube is the toughest niche. It really is. I should have been a gamer. Look, at the end of the day, I still like Josh, okay? I disagree with some of his views on AI. I personally don't see a way in which AI can be implemented as a tool. It is inevitable, right? Like me taking a shit. It's inevitable. Doesn't mean it's good. But we're only going to lose if we let them win. So don't give up, keep drawing, and I'd actually recommend a very recent video by Adam Duff. So if you've been to either Adam Duff's or Ergo Josh's comment section, you always see these guys commenting on each other's stuff. So I fully expected Adam to step up and defend his friend, which he did. And it was actually a really good video. I still don't agree with every point made, but again, ethics. It's all ethics. I'm still not going to use it. Apparently there are environmental concerns too that I was unaware of. I don't know. I got to do more research on that part. But, like recycle or whatever. But it's more so I can't see a use for it now or potentially in the future. So here's the piece I've been working on all this time. What would you rate it? Would you have run it through AI? Shout out to Josh for the alligator head idea. AI art is inevitable, but so is me waking up tomorrow and making more artwork regardless. I'd advise you do the same. Thanks for watching.